nothing. 20 years living under a bridge and still living in the same condition, still in bad shape. You find folk on these jobs living, for example, got a job being a filing clerk. Years has gone by and they still settling for, Dr. Hunter, the status quo. You cannot settle for the status quo if you want to move up. You got to be ambitious. You got to have some desire to be better than what you are. Why would you want to be a filing clerk, 75 years old, and never got a promotion, never got elevated, never got lifted up? We cannot afford to settle for the status quo. When I got into the workforce, working in the railroad business, yes, I started as a welder. But I didn't want to be a welder forever. I started hanging with folk that knew more than I did. You can't hang. Two dummies will never learn anything except learn how to be a better dummy. Hang around with folk that know more than you know, so you can advance, so you can be elevated. Hung around folk that knew how to work on railroad cars. Then I started hanging around folk that knew the nomenclature of railroad cars. What size wheels, what size brake shoes, what size brake beams, what size center place railroad cars have. Learning all the job codes and the wire-made codes and the Nittany codes. And that elevated me to the next level. You cannot make it settling for the status quo. You can never grow in your faith if you're settling for the status quo. God ain't gonna never do more for me. Then maybe he never will. Do not settle for the status quo. And because I never settled for the status quo, I became a plant manager making $117,000 a year because I never settled for the status quo. I want to be the best. I want to be the best. And now since I retired and don't really have to work, even this little piece of job I got now, the man came to me and said, I was out at NASA the other day. Collins, you're doing a good job. 69 years old, and I'm not settling for the status quo. Don't ever settle for that just good enough attitude. You want to give it your best. I don't care if it's cutting grass. You want to be the best grass cutter in the world, and somebody see how good you cut that grass. You know something? I think I want you to work for me at Walmart someplace, selling lawnmowers. Are y'all riding with me here? So you don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. You may be crazy, but you don't have to be crazy always. Are y'all riding with me here? You don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. Then when I look into our lesson today, we find in the 5th verse it says, after this, there was a feast. And I oftentimes wonder, what do you mean after this? What occurred before the 5th chapter? When we look at the 5th chapter, starting at the 46th verse, Jesus came again to Cana of Galilee, where he had made water into wine. And there was a certain nobleman whose son was sick at Capernaum. When he heard that Jesus had come out of Judea into Galilee, he went to him and implored him to come down and heal his son, for he was at the point of death. Then Jesus said to him, unless you folk, you people, see signs and wonders, you will by no means believe. Unless you people see things that will really blow your socks off. Unless you see things that will blow your mind, you will not believe. Unless you see something that is startling, you'll never believe. The Roman said to him, sir, come down before my child dies. Time we want Jesus to get in a hurry. That's why somebody said he may not come when you want him to come, but he's always on time. In other words, Jesus is never late. The Roman said to him, sir, come down before my child dies. Jesus said to him, go your way, your son lives. So the man believed, that's important, the man believed the word that Jesus spoke to him and went his way. Here the man advances to a higher stage because he believed. If you want to advance to a higher stage, you must believe that God can do anything but fail. Are you riding with me here? Go your way. So the man believed the word that Jesus spoke to him and went his way. Therefore, he advanced to a higher stage because he believed. The Bible declared that God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. So it's so important that we believe God. And as he was now going down to Capernaum, his servants met him and told him, saying, your son lives. The servant had noticed a sudden change in the nobleman's son. He noticed that the son had made a miraculous recovery. Then the nobleman inquired of them the hour when he got better. And they said to him, yesterday at the 7th hour, the fever left him. Yesterday about 1 o'clock, the fever left him. So the father knew that it was at the same hour in which Jesus said to him, your son lives. And he himself believed, and his whole household. The mother believed. The servants believe. The children believe. And sometimes God can do stuff to one member of the family, and the whole family become believers. When God healed my sister at 15 years old for cancer, and she wasn't supposed to live, but when God healed her from cancer, it sent a ripple throughout the family. Everybody started believing. Believing that God can do anything but fail. Just one. All it takes one that God will heal. When you already are making funeral arrangements, whatever, still alive and doing well, but it sent a ripple of belief throughout the entire family. Are y'all riding with me here? And so when the son was miraculously healed, the whole household believed. And then in the 5th chapter, we find after this, there was a feast of the Jews. Jesus went up to Jerusalem. And perhaps it was the Passover that they were celebrating. Now therein is in Jerusalem by the sheepfold a gate by the pool, which is called in the Hebrew Bethesda, having 5 porches. It's called in Arabic olive tree. But they call it Bethesda, having 5 porches. Now in these 5 porches lay a great crowd of sick people. Some were blind. Some were lame. Some were paralyzed and shriveled up. But let me put a quarter in the meter. Stay here for a minute. You got paralyzed or shriveled up folk in the church. They get so paralyzed that they will not pay their tithes. They become so shriveled up they will not come to church. So shriveled up that they will not, Lord have mercy, come to Bible band. Come to Bible study because they have allowed the devil to shrivel them up. So shrivel up that they lose their praise. So shrivel up that they lose their prayer life. So shrivel up that they can't even raise their hand and give God the glory. Get so shriveled up that you're mad at the world. So paralyzed that you refuse to help your neighbor. So shriveled up that you walk around looking like a bulldog in the face. You need to be at one of those porches. Say, Lord, I'm shriveled up. Look like a bulldog in the face every day. So at these porches were blind folk, lame folk, paralyzed folk, waiting for the moving of the water. For an angel went down at a certain time into the pool and stirred up the pool and stirred up the water in the pool. Then whoever stepped first after stirring up the water was made well, whatever problem or disease he had. Now a certain man was there. 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 Now a certain man was there who had an infirmity 38 years. He had that problem before Jesus was born. Jesus was 33 when he went back to glory. He had a problem before Jesus was born. Lord have mercy. 38 years. 38 years. 38 years. Shrivel up. 38 years. Paralyzed. 38 years. Depending on somebody else. 38 years. Waiting for somebody to drop him off by the pool. But when Jesus saw him lying there and knew they'd already been there 38 years and knew he had been in that shape 38 years. For a long time, Jesus knew his condition before Jesus was born. 38 years, shriveled up. 38 years, paralyzed. But when Jesus saw him lying there, Jesus knew that he had been there in that condition, in that shape, a long time. Do you not know God knows how long you've been in the shape that you're in? Jesus knows how long you've been in the condition that you're now in. And he said to him, do you want to be made well? Do you want to be made well? The sick man answered him, do you want to be made well? And the sick man answered him, sir, I have no man to put me into the pool when the water is stirred up, but while I'm coming, another steps down before me. While I'm coming, somebody cuts the line. While I'm trying to get in, somebody cuts the line. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, stop cutting the line. It's my turn to be blessed. Stop cutting the line. It's my time to be saved. Stop cutting the line. It's my time to be healed. But every time I make a move toward the pool, somebody cuts the line. Every time I try to get delivered, somebody cuts the line. Stop. Stop. Stop, stop. Stop cutting the line. It's my time to be delivered. He said, every time I try to get in the water, somebody gets in front of me. But little did he know, he was talking to some living water. He was talking to that healing water, that living water. Let me move to John 4. John 4 and 10 said, if you knew the gift of God and who is also talking to you, give me a drink, you would have asked him and he would have given you living water. But to whoever drinks of the water that I shall give him will never thirst, but the water that I shall give him shall give him, I done lost my place, but the water that I shall give him become in him a fountain of water, springing in to everlasting life. But little did he know that the living water was already stirred up. The living water was already able to deliver. This living water walked up to him and asked him, do you want to be well? Do you want to be made well? Do you want to be made whole? Living water. And Jesus said to him, rise up, take your bed and walk. In other words, Jesus said, get up, pick up your mat and walk. I stopped by to tell you, when you find yourself with the living water, Jesus said, get up. Get up out of your disappointments. Get up out of your oppressions. Get up. Pick up. Get up. Get up and walk. Get up. Pick yourself up. Get off the pity party. Get up and walk. Get up. Stop looking for sympathy. Get up from under the bridge. Get up. Put your sign down. Get up. Get up. Stop crying. Get up. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get up. Stop making excuses. Get up. Get up. Put your shoulders back. Get up. Pick yourself up. Pick yourself up and praise the Lord. Get up. Pick yourself up and give him the glory. Get up. Pick yourself up and give him some praise. Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up. Pick. 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 Pick yourself up. Pick yourself up and glorify the Lord. Glorify him. Oh, Lord. Pick yourself up. Get up. Lord, have mercy. When I look in the Bible, I find that when Peter and John had got the Holy Spirit, and my Bible tells me that they went to church through a gate called Beautiful, and that they found a man who had not walked 40 long years. He was shriveled up. He was paralyzed. And the only transportation he had, that folk would put him off by the church. And the only living that he had to ask for alms. He was begging for alms. And while begging for alms, he would sit at the church, no doubt with a cup in his hand. And everybody that went to church, and the folk that were saved, the folk that were Christ-like, would drop a little something in the cup. I hadn't walked 40 long years. I hadn't walked 40 long years. I couldn't play baseball. I couldn't play soccer. Lord have mercy. I don't have SSI. I don't have a 401k plan. I'm not getting any kind of Social Security. But the only way I can make it is you put something in my cup. 40 years. I've been begging for many long years. He had been begging, depending on folk, to put it in the cup. But I stopped by to tell you, when Peter and John were on their way to church, they saw the man begging, and he saw them coming. And the Bible said that he stretched his hands out, expecting to receive something from the Lord. Lord have mercy. But then Peter told him, silver and gold have I none. Silver and gold have I none. I've been working for Jesus. Working for Jesus, it's not about Rolex watches. Working for Jesus, it's not about living in a fine home. Working for Jesus, it's not about having a Jerry curl. Working for Jesus, it's not about alligator shoes. Foxes have holes and birds have nests, but I don't have nowhere to lay my head. I've been working for that man, and the man stretched his hands out, expecting to receive something. When you come to church, get those hands out and say, Lord, I came here expecting to receive something. But then when Peter's hand touched his hand, and my Bible tells me that immediately his ankle bones gained some strength, and he got up shouting and giving God some praise. I stopped by to tell you, you don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. You don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. You may be strung out on crack cocaine, but you don't have to stay. You don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. You may be a lunatic, but I stop by to tell you, you don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. Jesus wants to deliver you. Jesus wants to heal you. You don't have to be broke all the time. You don't have to be hunting all the time. You don't have to be wanting all the time. You don't have to be. You don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. You don't have to be in pain all the time. Lord have mercy. Give your neighbor a high five and say, neighbor, I don't have to be in the shape that I'm in, because Jesus wants to put me back together again. Jesus wants to put me back together again. And I'm getting ready to close. But when the woman that had that infirmity, 18 years, she was bowed down, couldn't straighten herself up. 18 years, she had to deal with it. But when she came to church, I just don't believe she came to church just to be healed. But I believe when Jesus saw her, he had compassion upon her and said, woman, thou loose from thine infirmities. And the woman straightened up and glorified God. To glorify means to praise. Straighten up and got our praise on. I stopped by to tell you, you need to straighten up. Get your praise on. Straighten up. Get your dance on. Straighten up. Get your testimony on. Straighten up. Straighten up. Straighten up. Straighten up. Straighten up. And get. 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 And get your praise on, because you don't have to stay. You don't have to stay. You don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. Because Jesus wants to put your life back together again. Lord, have mercy today. Tell somebody, so you don't have to stay. You don't have to stay in the shape Wait a minute. Lord have mercy. Come on, get on your feet. You don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. Come on, help me praise the Lord here. Yeah. Give your neighbor a high five and tell them again, you don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. You don't have to say, some of y'all in bad shape. In bad shape. But you don't have to stay in the shape that you're in. There may be somebody today just in bad shape.